So, Dendro came out a while ago, and I think it's a good time to probably go take a check on Geo and how they're doing, and it's not looking good. So, Dendro was probably Geo's last chance to be usable and have a support as of right now, but because that didn't happen, and Geo has no reaction with Dendro, which is probably the most disappointing thing I have realized or I've heard. And it's like, Mihoyo, why? Why? So, starting off, Yunjin. Yunjin's a very niche character. She can have some uses with normal attack-based characters, but I feel like her limiting factor is her energy cost. Being 80 energy and being Geo means that you need to bring a lot of energy, or you need characters that can very much funnel a lot of energy onto her. But like whether that's worth it, it's like eh. Like it's not exactly worth it, especially since she's a normal attack buffer. She doesn't really buff charge attacks, which a lot of other characters use charge attacks and get most of their damage from charge attacks. But yeah, it's mainly energy costs that makes her like undesirable. Like she can be strong if you can use her like with Aito, but like still I find her very niche. Ito Ito is, I would say, a big fish in a small pond. Like Ito is good, but the problem is you need Goro to make him work at least, and getting a 4-star can be very much a pain in the ass, especially since they're not guaranteed. And if you want Goro to not be an absolute brick, you need his C6. But Ito, like, one of the main issues with Ito is that he needs to get his like stacks, and he doesn't get stacks whenever he ults at like C0, because I think C1 or C2, one of those gives him like his like stacks, his superlative stacks at like whenever he ults. But if you're playing him at C0, he does not gain any stacks unless you normal attack, and it's yikes. I thought his energy cost would be bad, but it's surprisingly not bad because you can use Ushi like twice his burst. So like you ult, you press Ushi, and then you get some particles, and then you Ushi again in the middle of your rotation, and then yeah, building his stacks is probably the worst part about Ito. But with him being Geo, his damage ceiling is pretty much very easy to achieve, and he cannot reach any. He does not have any higher potential other than what he has like right now. Goro, I did mention a lot about Goro when I was talking about Ito like just a moment ago, but yeah, Goro's pretty much unusable. He's unusable outside of Geo or defense scalers, and he's only useful in Geo if you get him C6 as mentioned before. His energy is okay. Wait, is he 80 energy cost? Because if he's 80 energy, oh my god, Mihoyo. Yeah, I guess you do need a lot of energy, but because you only bring him in Geo teams, energy wouldn't necessarily be a problem if you're doing Goro Ito. Albedo. So, Albedo is an okay character at best. Yeah, that's it. Albedo, his damage ceiling is very very low because he's Geo. So when he does 20k to 30k procs with his E, that's all you're gonna get. You're not gonna get anything more than that. And because he's a 5-star, it pretty much, like, why would you get Albedo over Yalan, over Nahira, over I don't know, maybe even consider fucking Kokomi. Like, all he brings is damage and maybe some geo particles, but that's about it. Like, he's very useful in geo teams, but like outside of that, like, no, he doesn't really do that much. uh of course I'm gonna save these two, but Ningguang, this is probably the most frustrating thing about Ningguang, is that why hasn't Ningguang gotten any support? Now here's the thing, Ningguang is basically the black sheep. Okay, so when Geo is the black sheep of the elements, Geo does not work with any other elements. And yeah, while Ningguang is the black sheep of Geo. Why is that? Well, these characters, except for Zhongli, these characters, well, actually, I don't even know if Zhongli scales off HP, but these characters scale off defense. But no, Ningguang scales off of attack, and she hasn't gotten any support since the start of the game. Now you could use you could use Bennett, you could, I don't know, use Yalan, use Xingqiu, but is that even worth it? No, it's not. And it's so annoying why she has not gotten support, and that why she scales off attack when Geo scales off defense. It's so dumb. And then Noelle. Oh man, Noelle. Yeah, seems like I pissed off a lot of people because they keep arguing that Noelle's a good character, and I can't change it, and I can't change their mind that Noelle's a bad character because they've deluded themselves into thinking Noelle's a good character when Noelle isn't a good character. 80 cost burst and she doesn't even generate her own particles, and people are saying, oh, she's good if you bandage her with these 5-star weapons and 5-star characters. Get Yalan, get Albedo, get like whatever, get Ito's signature weapon, and she'll be good. Yeah, she'll be good, but she won't be competitive with any of the top tier teams. Has Noelle ever placed high in a top tier team? No, she hasn't. Why? Well, maybe because she's a bad character and she doesn't fit in with an actual good character. She can't even compete with Xingqiu for utility, who, guess what, is a top tier character, and she gives nothing to the team. At most, she gives a shield, but why? Even then, Diano has a shield. Zhongli has a shield. Why in the world would you bring Noelle's 25-second cooldown or 20-second, like, point is, her shield has a very long cooldown and you can't even use her as a heal. Why? Because if you want to use her shield as a tool for tanking, you cannot heal. But if you want to heal, you have to dodge attacks so your shield does not pop. And I don't understand why people cannot just understand that that is a bad thing. And then her burst, 80 cost. Oh man, I can't wait to slap fucking 190 energy cost in order for her to work. And if you want her to actually get a good rotation, you have to put even more energy recharge, and that means less stats for offensive stats like defense or attack percent or crit rate and crit damage. Oh, like I don't understand why people like are coping so hard that Noelle's a good character. Like, you can like her, like, sure, but like, you cannot argue that she's a good character in any way whatsoever. Like, she doesn't even place in a meta team, so how can you argue that she's a good character? Oh, if you say she's good for overworld, yeah, everything can be usable in overworld. Like, anything is usable in overworld. Like, you could probably use Aloy in the overworld. Should you? No. But is it possible? Yeah. Now, the final thing with Zhongli is probably, like, I think the second most infuriating thing is that in MiHoYo's grand idea, hey, let's make a fucking character that is better than the actual Geo reaction itself. Like, why? Huh? Like, why would you make a character that is better than Crystallize and not even buff Crystallize in the first place? Like, if you're bringing Zhongli in a team, you don't have to give a fuck about Crystallize, because you can just keep refreshing his incredibly strong shield, and yeah. Like seriously, Mario, fucking buff Crystallize. What the fuck are you doing? Are you listening to those people who's dumb enough to say that Geo is a good element and Electro is a bad element? So you decide to give Electro Aggravate, and now that Electro's Aggravate, someone as bad as Keqing is a good character? Like, granted, Keqing's good with Nahida, but if you bring Nahida into any Dendro team, that Dendro team becomes fucking overpowered. Like, Bloom and Hyper Bloom is so fucking brain dead. As long as you proc Bloom and Hyper Bloom, you deal so much damage. Geo? Oh man, I hope you like this crap crystallized shield that pops with a single tiny hit. Like, why? And yeah, Geo's in a freaking such a bad situation, and MiHoYo isn't even giving any support for it. Like, like, I can't. Like, there's some people who's thinking like that. Like, I hate these characters. Like, no, I don't hate these characters. I hate these characters because they're fucking bad, and MiHoYo isn't deciding to like support them at all. Like, do you think I want Noelle to be bad? No, if Noelle was good, like, hey, that's a good character. Or if Geo was a good element, then yeah, hey, you can use Geo. But if Geo's gonna be like a garbage element and MiHoYo is doing nothing to help them, and their bandage solution is like, hey, here's Zhongli, just forget about Crystallize, just bring Zhongli. It's stupid. It's stupid design. They're not even like supporting Geo. Like, they're not going to add any more reactions because that's it. That's all of the elements. The only thing they can do is add an incredibly overpowered Geo character, and that's it. And even then, MiHoYo, even then, like MiHoYo, you know they're gonna like screw characters over by locking them through constellations. And even if you have 4-star character supports, you have literally Goro who's C6 locked for like not, and he doesn't do much in Geo other than buff defense until C6 with crit damage buffs. And it's like, why? Like, I remember those dumb takes. Well, actually, wait. Geo main character actually also exists. Geo main character. Geo main character is okay, but like, eh. No, actually, no. Geo main character is like not great. It's pretty bad. Too much field time and you don't really get anything out of his field time. Sure, you can get crit rate, but with like when you press Q, but the problem is his Q pushes enemies back, so that kind of ruins grouping. Now, I've heard one of the dumbest takes was like, Geo Resonance is good. No. Let's take a look at Geo Resonance real quick. Now, someone literally mentioned that Geo Resonance was good because, oh, if your characters have a shield, damage dealt is increased by 15% and dealing damage to enemies decreases their geo resistance. Dumbass. Look at Cryo. Crit rate, plus 15% crit rate on frozen or cryo affected enemies. Electro. Any electro reaction gives an electro particle. Hydro increases max HP of the team. I've never, I've kind of never like used this, but like, I guess this is okay. This is okay, but it's like, I'm not sure about it. But yeah, like you're saying like plus 15% more damage is better than a 15% more crit rate or more HP for cryo for hydro or an electro particle for electro. Like, oh my god, dude. Like, holy copium, dude. Like, again, people think, you know, there's probably some people who may think that I hate Geo. No, I want Geo to be good. That's why I'm so annoyed when MiHoYo's being stupid and or greedy and locking characters and not giving support for like Geo. Like, come on. Now, what are the ways you can solve Geo? You can solve Geo or help Geo by giving it a new reaction. Because fuck Crystallize, like, fucking scrap Crystallize. Crystallize is like garbage. Why? Well, I forgot to mention that aside from being fragile, more fragile than a twig, shields do not stack. So if you say get Noel shield, Zhongli shield, Crystallized shield, those shields, all those shields aside from Zhongli shield are fucking redundant. Like, the Crystallized shield's gonna pop, but it gives you no benefit. Noel shield's gonna pop after, and it gives you no benefit. It doesn't give you extra tankiness. No, it's the tankiness depends only on who has the strongest shield. And 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 because shield strength is a stat that is applied to the character, you cannot even share shield strength. It's so annoying. Like, I've heard like of a way to fix like Geo was to give it a character like Nilo, right? Right? Give Geo like Hyper Bloom, basically, or Hyper Bloom or Bloom, where you can detonate the Crystallize or have Crystallize track enemies and they'll do like damage. That's from like Razor Ninjas, but like, yeah, I think that's actually a good idea. You know, make a character that completely scraps Crystallize, allow it for more damage, and that could be pretty okay, depending on how much damage it does. But yeah, like, the only way Geo can be good is if they release a stupid, broken, overpowered character just to help this element that's in like a literal comatose, where they're not good enough to be staples, but they require just as much investment as staples. Not to mention their gear is bad. The characters that require these gears are like they're pretty much proprietary and don't work with any other characters. Like, there's a reason why Emblem of Severed Fate is a good domain. It's because it can gear so many characters, and even if you're and even then you still have access to Shimenawa for attack percent 2 sets. You know, it's as if it's as if a domain like, hold on, where is it? It's as if a domain like Slumberg Court or whatever, or this one with Husk is a garbage domain because, well, Husk can only be used on Geo defense scalers, and Clam is literally unusable on any other character. Like, you can't even use it as healing, because if you want to do like 10k DPS per 10k DPS, like, that's not a lot. Ugh. I actually wanted to get my resin before I sign off, but like, ugh. God, MiHoYo, please buff Geo. Stop listening to people who think Geo is okay, because Geo is not okay. It's literally unusable, and especially since you're giving characters that are also unusable too, you're just making a dead element. But now MiHoYo's focusing on Dendro, and Dendro, oh man, it's a pretty broken element if you ask me. But Geo's not gonna get any of that, and yeah, see y'all later, bye.